and welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins Gate 0. In the last episode, Professor Alexis Leskinen and Maho, Hiajo, his assistant and interpreter, gave us a very interesting display of their new artificial intelligence program known as Amadeus. And while many people were certainly skeptical at first, including Rintaro Okabe and myself, after about 5 minutes things started to get pretty real. Of course, that seminar is now over and we're here at the post-seminar reception. Let's dig in. They told me there was a dress code, so I went all the way back to my parents' house to get a suit to change into. Yeah, I'm not too fond of dress codes myself. At first, all that effort paid off, as Sasaki introduced me to some of the country's top researchers, and it certainly seems to be a fairly formal gathering here, because this is a formal gathering. Riken, JAXA, IMSS, etc. What are all those things? Well, tell us, magic tip. The tips will answer all your questions. Riken is the Institute of Physical and Chemical Research. Founded in 1917, it is Japan's only general natural sciences institute. Research at Riken covers a variety of fields like physics, engineering, chemistry, computational science, forgive me, my enunciations, biology and medicine. Its base is located in Wako City, Saitama. There are also other labs in Hyogo, Kanagawa, and other locations in Japan. Riken also has research centers in America, England, and other countries. The second institute, JAXA, stands for the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. So they're basically the Japanese version of NASA. The National Aerospace Agency, don't know why I was having so much trouble saying that, of Japan. An independent administrative agency formed in October of 2003 by uniting the Institute of Space and Aeronautical Science, ISAS, the National Aerospace Laboratory, NAL, and the National Space Development Agency, NASDA. It primarily does space and aeronautical research. Its headquarters is located in the Aerospace Center in Chofu, Tokyo, and it has other space centers and observatories located all through the country, such as Usuda in Nagano, Tsukuda in Ibaraki, and Sagamihara in Kanagawa. It also has Japan's only 2 rocket launch pads located in Ichunura and Tanegashima in Kagoshima. As of March 2010, it employs around 1,500 people. And finally, the IMSS, the Institute of Material Science, Structure Science, a lab at the High Energy Accelerator Research Organization, KEK, located in Tsubuka, Ibaraki. It primarily works in using the electron accelerators to investigate the structure and properties of matters, so not unlike CERN, although probably far more smaller of an institute. But before long, let me just read this while this ends. But before long, Izaki ran off to suck up to some university professor, and I was left completely abandoned. So it looks like the professor that we are trying to brown-nose to is brown-nosing to some higher up. And we got another message, so let's check our phone and see what message, and it's from Daru of all people. I can't believe you get to go in a to a fancy party, die in a fire, Mr. Fancy Pants. Yeah, Daru is still the hardened otaku, as always, and we can respond with, you could have helped too, all the food looks so good here, and there's nobody to talk to, I'm bored. We're gonna respond to the food. The food looks so good here. See what he has to say about this. Bring me back a doggy bag. Hell no, I can't do that. You can do what you set your mind to. There's no limit to the vast blue sky. You can come and get it to me right now if you want me. Oh, I can come get it right now if you want me to. You that hungry, Daru? Fine. Okay, I'll get you something. But I refuse. But thou must. And Rintaro, using a rather surprised Upa emoji. Didn't know you were new to the use of emojis, and Daru with a very casual looking pale blue teddy bear with the word jealous. And why do you have an emoji of Suzuha Mane on your phone? That's creepy. That's just as creepy as the emoji of Mayushi. And anyway, we've finished with our favorite right arm for the time being. Probably meet him, well, I honestly don't know if we'll ever meet him, because we actually haven't been to the Future Gadget Lab in quite a while. And I honestly don't know if Rintaro is ever planning on going back. My own personal target, Dr. Leskinen, was surrounded by a bunch of famous scientists. It didn't feel like a mere student would be welcome. And so all I did was stand around and eat from the buffet by the wall. To be honest, I couldn't tell if if the food was any good or not. Well, we certainly told Daru that it looks good, but whether it actually tastes good is actually a matter of personal debate. And I would probably be doing the same thing in this, hold on, let me just get a nice cup of coffee to clear my throat. I would probably be doing the same thing as Rintaro in this situation, just basically standing around eating food from the buffet. Whenever my glass got empty, a smiling waiter was always around to fill it up again, and so I found myself drinking more than I intended. My stomach was already so full it hurt, and if Kurisu was alive to see us now, we would probably die from embarrassment, and Kurisu would probably die from hysterics at the sight of seeing Rintaro Okabe in a suit of all things. This whole place felt like it was another world. Yeah, these fancy formal events are, yeah. I would say that they're a little hard to get used to, but they're actually very hard to get used to. And, I think people are just interacting because, well, they're here, and they have something to talk about.
やっぱりこういうのには向かないわ。
Indeed. At the exact same moment I spoke, I heard a girl next to me say the exact same thing. If we're quick, we can get her to owe us a Dr. Pepper. Surprised, I looked over at her. Our eyes met. I think I know who that is. Hello again, Maho. Meet again. What was a middle school girl doing here? No, that's Maho Hiajo, the 21-year-old. And then a moment later, I realized it was Maho. She was wearing the exact same outfit she'd been wearing during the lecture. A lab coat, in a place like this? That's just what the old me would have done. I don't honestly see why we couldn't keep our clothes, because they were actually pretty comfortable. and they probably would have suited this place a lot
あなた
more.
は
And Maho is trying to remember who we are. In fact, we didn't actually introduce ourselves to her, to be honest. Maho was clearly out of place. Why? Because she was still wearing her lab coat, or probably because of the formal atmosphere in general?
なんで白衣なんです？
I think she would rather be in a science lab or a lecture hall than in a place like this. I couldn't help but ask.
ちゃんとした服も持ってきたつもりだったのよ。
She was sure she had, but she hadn't. And that's why she was standing in the corner, trying not to attract attention.
あなた、昼間受付にいた人ね。
Yeah, we were the receptionist, and once again, I'd like to apologize for the
岡部
misunderstanding.
倫太郎です。東京電機大学の学生で、伊崎ゼミで勉強してます。
We finally introduced ourselves properly to Maho Hiajo. I hand her one of the business cards that I'd thrown together after Izaki told me I needed them. She grabs one of her own out of her stack and carelessly puts it in my hand.
いいわ、無理に丁寧に話さなくても。
Well, that was certainly a huge help. Maybe we could just for a small second actually, although I'm not sure how Maho would react to the insane mad scientist Toru in Kyoma, but that identity is a thing of the past.
珍しい名前でしょ、私。
I personally wouldn't know myself, but if you say so, then it must be pretty rare of a name.
誰も読めないとか言ってたっけ？
Maho Hiajo. It's probably hard to read in kanji. I looked at the card and saw that the pronunciation of her name was written in unusually large letters. Maho Hiajo. That was probably because of how people kept screwing it up.
沖縄ではよくある名字なんだけれどね。
Apparently it's common in Okinawa.
沖縄出身なのか？
曽祖父と曽祖母がね、移民なのよ。私はアメリカ生まれのアメリカ育ち。
Born and raised in America.
ハーフにはあんまり見えないな。クォーター。
外れ。祖父祖母父母すべて日本人よ。 DNA は生粋のジャパニーズ。
So she does have Japanese heritage, but she was born outside of Japan. And for those of you who don't know what DNA is, allow me to give you a science lesson of sorts. Deoxyribonucleic acid, commonly called genes, or DNA. It is structured like a double helix and contains 4 bases: adenine A, guanine G, cytosine C, and thymine T, all of which are paired off with one another. The nature of these base pairings determines the genetic information of a creature, and the number of bases varies by species. In the case of human beings, that number is 3.1 billion. The building blocks of life.
へえ。
And this conversation went nowhere fast. And then the conversation stopped altogether. I'm a terrible conversationalist, honestly. The old me would have gone full Shinobiu and started ranting about conspiracies and magic powers, whether the other person cared or not. But you really can't call that a conversation. If you are one of the viewers for my Steins Let's Play, you will already know what Chunibiu is, but for those of you who are new or want a refresher course on what Chunibiu is, here it is. Literally 8th grader's disease. This term refers to the slightly unusual actions and speech patterns commonly used by Japanese boys undergoing puberty. It can also be used as a pejorative term towards people who left puberty a long time ago, but still say highly embarrassing things as if they were kids, as if they were still kids. Chunibiu refers to someone who performs antisocial, misanthropic or delusional actions or make-up statements in an attempt to make them sound like a grown-up. While the speaker may think that they are really cool, from the perspective of an adult, they look ridiculous. Chunibiu can be broken down further into categories, one of which is the evil-eye Chunibiu, who is convinced that he has a special anime power or backstory. For example, an evil eye that gives him magical abilities. Strictly speaking, Rintaro Ogabe, or rather Hoin Kiyoma, falls into this category. But not anymore, not this time. I had no idea to say to somebody I'd never met. I've been working at becoming a real adult, even buying and studying men's magazines, but none of that really helped. Without anything to talk about, I looked over to Dr. Leskinen. He seemed to be giving a lecture on neurons to a bunch of scientists. Glad they're having more of a fun conversation. Yeah, the misunderstanding with the ID card. Never mind.
Huh? 何が?
いや、セミナーの途中で邪魔を。
Yeah, we did, but that man was not only criticizing the research in question, but also the legacy of Kurisu Makase.
ああ、あれね。気にすることないわ。あなたが声を上げなかったら、多分私が同じことをしていたから。許せないの、ああいう人。
There's always one in every crowd,
いいのか、
Maho.
そんなこと言って。教授が言ってたじゃないか。科学者たるもの、常に冷静にって。
That was some very good words of advice from Leskinen there.
今のは科学者としての発言じゃないわ。だから構わないのよ。
No, we're just speaking casually in a very formal setting. That must have really ticked her off, because she grabbed a cocktail from a passing waiter and gulped it down. Her cheeks turned a pretty shade of pink for an instant, but no longer. She might have had a high alcohol tolerance.
だけど、やっぱり良くないわね。反省する。ああいう批判は言い方こそ悪いけれど、それでも事実には違いないんだもの。私たちの研究がまだ無謀の域から出ていないと言われれば、確かにその通りよ。
Indeed, as impressive as Amadeus certainly is, I would think that still only digging the tip of the iceberg, as it were.
取り組まなくてはいけない課題が山積みだわ。さっきセミナーで話した以上にね。
I wonder if you actually have to deal with programming errors and bugs with the Amadeus system. Or rather, the program that comprises the Amadeus system.
例えば、記憶データを元の脳に書き戻すことができても、それを脳が利用できなければ何の意味もないの。
Yeah, that is truly a serious problem indeed. If the brain can't utilize the data, then it's worthless. Not to mention the fact that said data might actually corrupt the brain in the
記憶
process.
があっても思い出せない状態。つまり、記憶喪失の脳と同じになってしまう。
It's truly an unfortunate scenario, but what can you do? As Maho spoke, I remembered all the lectures and theories that Kurisu had given me when she was making the time leap machine. Excuse me as I munch on my breakfast. Not professional during the recording of a Let's Play episode, but bear with me.
確か人間が記憶にアクセスしようとするときは前頭葉から側頭葉へ信号が行くんだったよな。
To show you the definition of the frontal lobe, a part of the cerebrum located at the front of the brain, hence the name frontal lobe. It controls thought, will, action, movement, creativity, and more. The frontal lobe can be further divided by location into the prefrontal cortex, motor cortex, and premotor cortex. And of course, this what Rintaro has just spoken about, how electronic signals go from the frontal lobe to the temporal lobe when, as people try to access their memories. We learned from that from Kurisu.
トップダウン記憶検索信号ね。
Top-down memory search signals. There are a lot of tips coming. Nerve signals in the cerebrum that are sent to the frontal lobe, from the frontal lobe to the temporal lobe during memory retrieval. And then I started to talk, remembering what Kurisu had told me about her theories as I went. Those conversations took place on the Alpha world line, not the Beta world line. When I used specialized terminology whose meanings I barely remembered, Maho would tell me exactly what those meanings were, which is very convenient of her.
で、最後に側頭葉に記憶を書き戻す過程で、
And Rintaro is trying to dig through his memories, his
一
own
緒にコピー
memories.
した疑似パルスを前頭葉の方に送り込めば、記憶検索信号はちゃんと働くと思う。
If you send the pseudopulse you copied along with them to the frontal lobes, the memory search signal will function properly. We think. And Maho is looking at Rintaro in complete surprise. And I honestly don't blame her, because all these things we're talking about are ideas that were given to us by Kurisu. Ideas that shouldn't have been given to us on this particular world line.
それを自分で導き出したの？
No, not entirely.
ああ、いや。
Maho looked back at the business card I'd given her.
脳科学専攻じゃないわね。ということは誰かに？それとも論文で？
We're starting to delve into dangerous territory here, methinks.
うん、それはないわ。まだ論文にはまとめられてなかったはず。
Indeed. That would certainly cause a time paradox in this world line, not that you would know what that is, or hopefully you know what it is, but not how it relates to this situation. I think you did, Rintaro, and you have yet to realize.
そうじゃなくて、私の後輩がね、全く同じ理論を提唱していたことがあるのよ。
And I think I know exactly who that researcher was.
どのスタッフもずっと懐疑的だったけど、彼女だけは絶対に証明できるって言い張っていたわ。
A 17-year-old girl genius, neuroscience prodigy. We know exactly who she's talking about.
結局実証試験に進む前に彼女はいなくなっちゃったんだけど。
Indeed. She passed away on the 28th of July on the 8th floor of the radio building after her father's lecture because of us.
それは
Should I tell her? That would probably be a mistake. Should I tell her about me and Kurisu? In this world line, there's almost no connection between me and Kurisu.
どうしたの？
And unfortunately, Kurisu is a very sensitive subject for Rintaro Okabe, and any thought or mention of her might inadvertently trigger his anxiety disorder. I made up my mind. If I wanted to follow my dreams, I needed to act.
実はこの理論クリスからレクチャーされた。
Well, no point in hiding it now.
え？今なんて？
Well, technically we did kind of run into Kurisu shortly before her death.
マキセ・クリスが教えてくれたんだよ。
クリスがあなたに？いつ？どうして？
Those are two very informative questions, which I'm probably not going to
彼
be
女
able to
がこっち
answer
に
to
留
your
学してた時
satisfaction.
だ。友達になってこういう話をよくした。
Again, all those things happened in the Alpha World line, but they're not entirely incorrect. Of course, that was a lie. Kurisu and I became friends on the Alpha World line, not this one. But a small light like this was probably okay.
そうだったの。あのクリスが。ありがとう。感謝するわ。
She seems strangely relieved for some reason. Her words surprised me. That was the one thing I didn't expect to hear. Thanks from Maho Hiajo.
何が？
彼女と友達になってくれてよ。日本に来てたった一人で。
Yeah, Kurisu said that she felt out of place among her scientific peers, and given her disastrous relationship with her father, only made things worse.
たった一人で勉強していてもきっとつまらなかったと思うから。
口喧嘩ばっかりだったけどな。
Yeah, that was pretty much the extent, which is basically argue, bicker, so on and so forth.
あの子らしいわね。絶対に負けを認めなかったでしょう。
No, she didn't. Stubborn to the very end. That was Kurisu Makase.
へりくつばっかりこねていた。
And she had a curiosity to match her temperament.
ロボトミー手術してあんたの前頭葉を書き出してやるぞとかよく言われたし。
Don't forget the fact that she was going to stick electrodes in our brain. And this is a familiar tip, lobotomy, a method of treating mental illness by performing surgery on the brain. A small hole is opened in the skull and a long knife is used to remove the frontal lobe. In some cases, this was sufficient to cure the illness, and the inventor was even given the Nobel Prize for his work. However, due to the serious psychological effects and damage to the personality caused by the loss of the frontal lobe, lobotomies were banned worldwide in the 1970s.
まさかそんなこと。
Don't underestimate Kurisu, Maho.
クリスなら言いそうね。
Yeah,
だ
you and
ろ
me both.
ちゃんと後輩の教育をしておいてほしかった。
その点に関しては認めるわ。陳謝します。
And again, there's that odd sense of relief from Maho. But now she's crying. I would assume that the loss of Kurisu Makase was painful for Maho Hyaju as it was for Rintaro Okabe. She smiled, or so I thought, and then all of a sudden she started to cry.
どうした？
I didn't have any better ideas, so I grabbed my handkerchief. How very gentlemanly of you, Rintaro. She didn't seem to know why she was crying herself. And neither did I. Had I said something during the conversation that set her off?
大丈夫か？
平気よ、ごめんなさい。
I think she is, surprised to hear that somebody knew about Kurisu other than herself. She didn't take my handkerchief. Instead, she took a tissue out of her pocket and wiped her eyes.
You can know Dyson Einstein.
I know that English anywhere. The one and only Professor Alexis Leskinen. I turned around and saw Dr. Leskinen smiling and quickly striding towards me. He grabbed my hand as he got closer. The handshake was incredibly forceful, and his hands were as big as a bear's paws. No, not just his hands. Standing in front of me, he looked even bigger than he had during the lecture. I'm pretty tall, but he was at least a head taller than even me.
教授、俺、その。
Oh, it was all so sudden that I couldn't even think of an introduction. Oh wait, did he just speak in Japanese?
しかし、私の助手を泣かせてしまったのは見過ごせないね。
That was not our fault.
これは。
He certainly has us on the defensive.
違います、教授。私が勝手に。彼は関係ないですから。
And Maho's trying to explain the situation. Maho and I both denied it as much as we could. But I didn't know why Maho was crying, so I couldn't come up with any excuses. I was just starting to panic even more.
つまりその。
See if we can find a way to change the subject.
クリスです。彼とクリスの話をしていたら、いろいろ感情が溢れてしまって。
So she was crying about Kurisu.
Chris? 君はクリスの友人？
And Leskinen seems just as surprised as Maho
それは。
was. We were acquaintances. I wouldn't necessarily call ourselves friends, at least in this world line. But we are familiar with
岡
her
部倫
work.
太郎さん、学生だそうです。
Maho introduced me to Leskinen. And Leskinen seemed satisfied with the introduction. Dr. Leskinen had a gentle expression on his face as he gave me a slow hug. I felt like I was going to suffocate in his massive arms. Somehow, I could tell that it was his way of remembering Kurisu.
そうですか。そういうことなら魔法。
はい。
ミスター・オカーベに合わせてあげたらどうかな、彼女を。
まさかアマデウスを。
Wait a minute. Amadeus? Or... You mean the AI that you demonstrated in your 7?
ここで彼に出会って偶然、その幸運を大切にしたいじゃないか。日本にいる間、彼にテスターになってもらってもいいよ。
Wait a moment. Are you saying you want us to be a tester for your artificial intelligence? That's, well, that certainly would be an impressive opportunity, but we'll have to think on this. I believe now is a very good time to end this episode of Let's Play Steins Gate 0. In the, when we return, adventurers, we shall weigh the options and see whether or not it's actually an honor to be a tester for an AI. Hopefully there aren't any complications of any sorts or anything. As always, adventurers, until next we meet,